Welcome back to In Case You Missed It Wrestling. I am your host, Blackhawk, and today we are talking about NXT Vengeance Day, which was incredible. It was awesome. So good. I loved NXT Vengeance Day. I am so surprised at NXT's ability to consistently put on good shows, especially good PL when the main roster is very wishy-washy, very back and forth between good and bad. NXT has had some stinkers in the past. I'm not gonna lie, not everything's perfect, right? But consistently, they've put on, you know, A minus B plus shows every single time. And the main roster can't always say that. And maybe it's because I expect better out of the main roster, but I love NXT. I love watching it weekly. I love the PLEs. I'm very rarely negative about NXT because I just enjoy it so much. And they had this event on a day that was packed, just packed full of incredible sport action. We had USA and Canada playing hockey. Also, if you haven't watched that, crazy hockey match. It's such a good hockey match. It might be my favorite match of all time as far as hockey goes. I that was so good. And then you've got AEW Grand Slam that was pre-recorded. There was spoilers that came out about that, but it premiered about an hour after Vengeance Day went off. As a sports fan, you had a great day that day because Grand Slam was also incredible. Two back-to-back wrestling events, two different companies that put on two incredible events. What a great day to be a wrestling fan. But I don't do an AEW show. Maybe in the future, as the goal is to be doing this full time instead of having a job. If I get to that point, we will 100% be doing AEW content as well. No doubt about it. Be doing AEW TNA. We'll be doing as much as we can. But right now, we're just covering WWE and this NXT Vengeance Day PLE. We would start off with Stephanie Vecchier and Fallon Henley for the Women's North American Championship. And let me tell you, I was not expecting a technical on the mat match out of either of them. I know they're both capable of it, but they showed up and showed out. It was such a good match. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. It was so good. Not a lot of, rope to rope action. It was a lot of on the mat, just not even like ground and pound, but more of like there's a lot of grappling, a lot of classic wrestling grappling. And it was great. It was so good. I love a good technical match, and they did a fantastic job tonight with that. They did a fantastic job that night with the technical wrestling that they did. It was so good. I can't give them any higher praise than, you know, what I am giving them. I really believe that Fallon would be much better without Fatal Influence. And I've said this before, and I think, until Fatal Influence as a group can prove me wrong, I believe Fallon will be better by herself. Fatal Influence does almost nothing. They try to interfere in this match, and at one point they, get one in on Stephanie, but it doesn't really affect the outcome. They would try again, and Stephanie would get the upper hand. So you know what it is what it is. You know, whatever. Influence didn't really do much of anything. Fallon, Fallon looked great. Stephanie looked amazing. The future for women's wrestling in the WWE is so bright. It's incredible. I feel like every time I watch NXT, especially within the women's division, there's a new face and name that kind of just shines bright, maybe just for the night, but it really shocks me at how good these women are sometimes. I never thought they were bad, right? I never ever would have thought that they were bad, but it does just blow my mind sometimes that these are just the developmental talents. And then you go watch SmackDown or Raw or whatever, and the women on there are good, right? I'm not saying the women are bad, but the NXT women are, it feels like a league ahead of what the main roster women are doing. And I don't get it. I don't get it, man. I don't know. Stephanie would pick up the win, and now we have a new women's North American champion, which, good job. Good job, Stephanie. I'm very happy about that. I had a feeling that was going to happen. Like, it wasn't like a surprise to me that she walks out of here with a North American championship. They've been teasing that for a while, and it was just a matter of time before that happened. They aren't going to pull a Julia versus Stephanie Vacquier until like a big moment, like a stand and deliver. And I don't know if they'll really have the time before stand and deliver to, make that match, right? Because now that two belts are involved in a stacked women's division, you can't really do a belt versus belt, like a champion versus champion, and have somebody walk away with both championships. Like, NXT has built itself up to be too good to do that, because then now you're taking an opportunity away from another incredible women's wrestler. But I do believe we will be seeing that in the future. Match was great. I give it a 94 out of 100, which is a 4.7. Incredible. After that, we get a video with Stax calling out the Sean Spears family for a match on Tuesday, which, all right. Another thing bound to happen, but not too high on the Spears family just yet. But yeah, we'll see. There's still a lot of time. This is still something fresh. Could be really good. Could also be awful. But we'll just have to see. We'd then move into Eddie Thorpe versus Trick Williams, and I'm still not sold on Eddie Thorpe. I've watched this match twice, right? I watch all shows and events twice before I record the podcast. One, just to watch, and two, to take notes and make sure I have everything I need for the recording. And I still don't get it. Like, I really appreciate what he does, right? I'm not knocking what he does. I think he is decent in the ring, but I don't get it. I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things. Like, I just won't be a fan of him. It's not that I don't want to be. Like, I want to be a fan. I do. I really want to be a fan of him. I really want him to be successful, and especially as like a Native American, and the Native Americans haven't had, the greatest success within the WWE. I really hope that he can, represent that group of people well. And I want him to represent that group of people well. I just don't think he does. Right? He's not entertaining. And he was on Twitter talking about how it's because he's indigenous that people don't like him. I don't think that's it. I just don't. He's just not entertaining. I don't know what could make him more entertaining. Like, I don't have tips for him or anything, but every time I watch him, I'm not entertained. There's some people that are extremely charismatic and they could just be bad in ring and still get over. And I think he's perfectly decent in ring, right? Like, I don't have a lot of complaints about his in ring ability, but the character itself is just boring. It's kind of like the Miz now. Like, I talked about the Miz in the SmackDown episode yesterday, and it's just boring now. I don't know. I want to like Eddie Thorpe. I really do. And I'm going to keep watching, and maybe eventually my idea of Eddie Thorpe will change. I hope it does. But right now, it's just, yeah, like, he's there. I just don't understand why he keeps getting these like high profile matches either. Like with the Boba Femi match, this match with Trick Williams. God, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not the one booking the show. I'm not in charge of all this. Maybe if I was, backstage, I'd understand, right? But me as a regular viewer, somebody who doesn't have any sort of special access to anything, I don't understand. Trick Williams is great in this match, as always. He's going to be a really, really good talent on the main roster, and he does a good job. He does a good job every match I've ever seen him in. Like, just consistently good. And that's really what you want out of a wrestler. You want somebody who is consistently good. You really don't want somebody that can give you the match of your lifetime and then the next match is just the worst match you've ever seen in your life. You want somebody who's consistently good, and until you get pushes and get championships, you're consistently good. And he is consistently good. I really enjoy Trick Williams. I think he's got a bright future. Him and Carmelo Hayes have incredible futures ahead of them. I believe we will get a run back of their feud for the NXT title, on the main roster, obviously. I don't know when. Trick Williams is main roster bound soon, but I don't know how soon. I've heard of them wanting him to do things with Ricky Starks now that he is in NXT and getting his start. But that's just, I don't actually know. The strap match is just a weird stipulation to me. I haven't seen a ton of good ones, right? Like, this is one of the few stipulations where I look at it, I'm like, I'm not excited for a strap match. I don't know. The older ones are definitely better. Like some of those Dusty Rhodes strap matches, very, very good. But the ones I've had recently, yeah, just meh, not great. Could have just done a singles match and it might have been just as good. Right, the stipulation is supposed to add something to the match, and it definitely added something to the match. Like, don't get me wrong, but it didn't elevate it. Right, like a stipulation needs to elevate the match to make it better than just a singles match. And this one didn't do any sort of elevating. It was definitely an element in the match, but it just wasn't like you think of a tables match, chairs match, those things elevate a regular match. And I think if they would have had a regular one-on-one match before this, it would have made sense. It would have been fine. It would have been better, right? But just going straight into a strap match, a little odd. It is all right. The match was all right. Right? It was decent. It was all right. I just wasn't happy with the ending, the little flick up to the balls and then hit like a standing shining wizard. I'm not really sure what his finisher is. It looks like just a knee to the face, just kind of like a shining wizard, but Trick was standing up. Yeah, it was a match, right? Gave it a 74 out of 100. It's 3.7, right? Good match, decent match, but does not hold up to the rest of the event, right? This is a considerable stinker compared to the rest of the event. It just is what it is. Ricky Starks would announce that he will be at NXT Tuesday signing his official contract. So big, 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 big. They have yet to say his name, which I know is a contention for a lot of people. I do know that he signed as Ricky Starks. I do know that. I have friends that are insiders. I do know that he signed as Ricky Starks. He will be using the name Ricky Starks. And I think this has become a meme right now. I think this has become like a goof, like keeping people on the edge of their seats, because earlier this week they announced a ton of names that they had trademarked. So Ricky Starks shows up and they don't say Ricky Starks. So people are afraid he's going to get a new name. I don't think he'll get a new name. He'll be Ricky Starks. He signed as Ricky Starks. It'd be to give him a new name. He's known as Ricky Starks, right? Then move into Ethan Page versus Javon Evans. Great match. So good. Javon Evans is the future of this business without a doubt. This is the path we are seeing American wrestling go into. Sort of these, I wouldn't say skinny, scrawny, but, not super big guys being able to do incredible things. We see this with Will Ospreay, right? He is kind of the front runner of this. Ricochet is in that same sort of conversation, but the only problem with Ricochet is he's not good on the mic. Javon is good on the mic. Javon can cut a promo. Javon has everything you want. Ethan Page, same thing. Not super big, but just a great talent, great on the mic, extremely charismatic. These two are in a great spot right now. Really, really, really good spot. This match does feel a little awkward with Cedric being released, especially since he was a major part of this whole feud starting. I don't know. I don't know that one. That one's another one of those that just doesn't make sense. But yeah, Javon Evans looked great. He was extremely aggressive, and I would not mind seeing this version of Javon Evans more often. I get that it's like a special thing. It should be a special thing, but he was so good in this match. And Ethan Page was really, really good too, but Javon Evans just shined. He really did. This is just a match between two wrestlers who are trying to take the other one out. Just end it all. Not kill them, right? But take them out of action forever. So good. Ethan Page would get the win after knocking Javon Evans' mouth guard out after hitting a punch on his face. Like, he got a good lick in. And Javon did a really good job most of the match avoiding, a direct face hit. He did a really good job and then finally got one, and that was it. We would be left with a shot of Javon Evans' mouth bleeding. So I don't know where they're going to go with this. Very, very interested in the fallout of this match. I did give it an 89 out of 100, which is a 4.45. Really, 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 really good match. Great match. Great match. I have enjoyed watching it both times that I've watched it. It's so good. We would go into Grayson Waller versus Austin Theory versus Oba Femi. And this, without a doubt, is Oba Femi's best match of his title reign. Without a doubt. I loved this match. It was so good. I'm a big Oba Femi fan. I love the big guys, right? Like you were talking Samoa Joe, Oba Femi, Ivar. Ivar's one of my favorite wrestlers. Like I'm a big fan of the big guys. And Oba Femi is the next big guy up, right? He is the next, monster. I am so ready. I am so ready for him to run on the main roster because he just showed that he can run with two main roster talents. Two guys that have had WrestleMania moments. Two guys who they trust to be on TV and have their own talk show, right? These are guys that the WWE believes in. They put him in a match with Oba Femi and let Oba Femi win, right? This is huge. Big, big, big win for his career. Grayson Waller honestly shocked me because we've only seen him in tag team wrestling, last couple months. Right? I've kind of forgotten how good he was as a singles wrestler. Austin Theory the same way. They've been in kind of a dookie tag situation, right? Hopefully moving on to the Raw roster, they can help build that tag team roster up because the Smackdown roster is on fire. The Raw roster needs help. And I think Grayson and I think A-Town Down Under could be a big, big player over there if the cards are played right. Right now, realistically on Raw, you only have the War Raiders, the Judgment Day, and now A-Town Down Under. It's almost like open sea for a good tag team, right? They're searching, just looking for somebody. I love the War Raiders, and they're a great tag team, but they need a good matchup. The Creed Brothers gave them a great matchup. I forgot about the Creed Brothers. All right. But that's enough about Raw, right? We're talking about NXT. They look so good in this match that I kind of want them to break up. I want them to go on a singles run and fight each other and maybe go back to being partners, right? Maybe Waller, disrespects Theory one more time and Theory says enough. It's like, you will respect me. They have a match and fight it out. And then there's a newfound respect for each other and they go back to being a team. I wouldn't mind that at all. I wouldn't mind that one freaking bit. That would be amazing. But yeah, this match is great. Obafemi is as dominant as always, and dominant against two main roster guys. Awesome. So good. I gave it a 93 out of 100, which is a 4.65. Great match. Great night. What? By this point, I'm just already blown out of the water, and we haven't even gotten to the main event yet. The main event is easily the match of the night. It's Bayley versus Roxanne Perez versus Cora Jade versus Julia. And I know I talked about this last week, that Cora Jade really showed out. Cora Jade once again showed up and showed out. She looked incredible. I've seen a lot of hate for Cora Jade over the last couple months, and not a lot of matches out of her. So it's kind of creeped into the back of my head that she wasn't good. Right. And I allowed other people to make an opinion for me. After watching her, she is good. I'm 100% on the Cora Jade bandwagon now. I do not mind her being in these spots. I think she 100% deserves it. I really hope we get a Cora Jade and Roxanne match before Roxanne moves to the main roster. Cora Jade is part of this future. And I have counted her out for a long time, and I want to say I'm sorry. I want to apologize for that. Cora Jade is part of this future great women's division, hands down. Roxanne looks main roster ready, right? I think she is just not necessarily 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like, that makes it feel like she's not wholly there when she's there, but she really is just kind of, biding time before she gets that full call up. She's been on a lot of the shows, just sitting in the crowd, and they've shown her in, front row seat, but she's just vying time until it's actually her time to move up. Bayley, the most consistently good women's wrestler on the WWE roster. She's had bad matches, right? But 9 times out of 10, you're guaranteed a good match from Bayley. And she delivered a great match tonight. Julia, incredible talent. So good. She was great in this match too. This match was incredible. It was so good. I'd said I'd watched this event twice already. I watched this match 3 times. That's how good this match was. I finished it and rewinded it to start it again. So good. There's some incredible spots with all 4 of the women. What a match, man. I might go back and watch it again while I'm editing this. I'm gonna be honest with you. I might, by the time this comes out, I might have seen it 5 times. I don't know. But yeah, it should be no secret, what I'm giving. This is a 5-star match. 100 out of 100, 5 out of 5. Beautiful match. Great way to end the night. Not necessarily in the night, because there are some things that happened after, but what a match. What a match. Julia would pick up the win, and Stephanie Vacquier would come out and celebrate with Julia, only for Jordynne Grace to make her official WWE NXT debut. There's a lot of questions where Jordynne Grace is going to go, and I think NXT is the best spot for her. People are like, oh, she's main roster ready. Yeah, she is, without a doubt. But the women's division that'll allow her to shine at her best, right? To shine and be the star that she can be, is the NXT women's division, without a doubt. That is the right decision for where she needs to land. People can be, oh, it's developmental. It might be, but good Lord, is that locker room stacked? What are we talking about? She needs to go to the main roster. The main roster needs to come back down to NXT. I don't even know, man. Like, how can you watch the main roster after watching NXT and be like, yeah, this is better? It's not better. I don't know. But yeah, great night of wrestling. If you haven't watched Vengeance Day, I suggest you just go and watch the whole thing. Like, I do these so you don't have to watch the whole events if you missed it. But I suggest you find the time to watch Vengeance Day. I really do. I sincerely hope you do watch Vengeance Day. But that'll be it for this episode. Tomorrow, we have Monday Night Raw coming out. So be on the lookout for that. This is recorded before Raw, right? I think we're going to have a really good episode. I think we're in for a show. And for the first time, I will be live for Raw. I'll be live for NXT tonight. So come check it out. Should be a really fun time. I try to play games during the show because it can get a little boring sometimes, especially with the commercials they run during SmackDown. SmackDown is a lot more fun with a game. NXT, iffy. Sometimes it's better to just watch it. Raw, it's the first time I'll be live for Raw. So we'll see what happens. If I play a game, it'll probably be either Magic the Gathering or Minecraft, just because of the M simile. But I will see you tomorrow for Monday Night Raw. Have a good night.